So, you're probably an artist, or maybe you're an aspiring artist, or even worse, you're just interested in art, but you literally have nothing to do with it, yet you're here because you saw the title of this video and you felt like you related to it. In which case, well, I'm tremendously sorry. It kind of happens. That's why you click on videos. Either that or you're really interested in something. But I would question why you would be interested in this kind of topic unless you related to it. Anyway, I want to preface this video by saying that this is more or less my opinion on why artists in general maybe feel insecure about their art, about their mind, about their capacity to make it, all of that. And another thing is that this is my first ever YouTube video. Like, ever. And so, if this is awkward for you, just know that it's not for me, I think. There's somebody yelling, like, right up. Anyways, my name is Alexandra, and nobody calls me that. Literally anyone. I'm either called Alex or Moldy or something along those lines. Never Alexandra unless somebody's mad with me. And that somebody specifically is either my grandma or my mom. And if they're watching this video, then I'm gonna hide under a rock. We got it. So basically, I wanted to approach this subject because it means a lot to me, personally. And you might be asking why that is. Well, it's mainly because I've been interested in art in all of its forms since I can remember. And I'm gonna give you a list of topics that I've been interested in that come to mind right now. And yeah, they're more or less in order of how I prefer them. So, I don't know, things like writing, painting, drawing, singing, dancing, acting, architecture. I don't know what else. There's so many forms of art out there. Design, digital design. Interior design? Come on. I've had at least a mild interest in all of these, but I kind of picked the ones that I started with, like writing, painting, drawing, singing, and dancing, and all of that jazz, because those are the ones where I actually felt like I also had something to bring to the table, which, I don't know, I didn't feel like the other ones really called my name all that much. So I started to read a lot as a youngin'. I'm 20 years old right now. I don't know what I'm going for. Well, technically, I'm very little. I've got very little left until I turn 21. Not that very little. April 2nd, but still, it's something. Yeah. And so I just really wanted to approach this topic because it means a lot to me, and I think more people should talk about this. More people should talk about why we as artists, as people that appreciate and want to make beautiful things out of our feelings and thoughts, I really think we should talk about this more. And I know I'm not the first one to approach this topic by all means, but I think we're barely touching the surface. The thing is, I didn't even come across a video on this topic on my personal recommended list on YouTube, which honestly, I watched a lot of art related stuff and history related stuff, but I didn't come across a video on this topic, and I actually actively had to search it when I thought about making this video, and I didn't find much. So without further ado, and with a very not so short, not so little introduction of myself, I think we should get into the topic, which, as mentioned, and as you can read, hopefully, is why do artists feel insecure? Why do we feel insecure? Come on, let's talk about it. I think probably the first point that I should make, in my opinion, on this topic is that one of perfectionism. Because so many of us feel the need to attain this level of self expression and mastery of explaining ourselves that is sometimes unattainable. And we want to pour our souls into what we do. We want to express everything all at once, and it's really hard to do that, and it's really hard to do it masterfully, and we continuously judge ourselves, and that's not a bad thing, but we take it as a bad thing. It's just when it gets to the point that you stop yourself from actually putting your art out there that it starts to kind of be bad. Just know that the way that you word it, the way that you paint it, the way that you make it is unique, and that's all you'll ever need. And if it's not perfect, then that's fine. It never really is. And I know it's coming from a person that you don't know. I know it's coming from a person that literally has a degree upcoming in communication, which has nothing to do with what I'm talking about right now. Nothing. But I'm really passionate about this. So you can trust me. Can you? I don't know. I guess we'll find out. I think that's one big point. That was the first point. We are perfectionists. Way too much. Way too much perfectionism on our side, okay? And that's rooted a lot of the times in the way that we were taught to be. In the ways that we were taught to express ourselves, that, you know, you have to be perfect if you want to be an artist, because otherwise you're just not going to make it. Lord knows that you're not going to make it as an artist. That's what we're taught. You know, the biggest artists out there, your biggest inspirations, I don't know, thinking Joan Didion if you're a writer maybe, or, God, Oscar Wilde. I don't know, if you're an artist, maybe Van Gogh, maybe, I have no, Andy Warhol. Who am I to judge? I think we compare ourselves so much to them, and this is another element that is comparison. We just want to be perfect. We deem things as perfect, as just this bubble of harmony in which everything is absolutely great, and that's never art, but it is how we see it from the outside when we're not the artist. So, I'm not saying get out of your head. I'm just saying put yourself out there just as you are, as hard as it is. I'm not gonna edit this. I'm just gonna put it out with this. With my perfectly timed blech and facial expressions. Yeah. I think another point to be made is that there's so much emotional involvement in what we make that a lot of the times it consumes us completely, and it feels like we're giving pieces of ourselves to other people, and feels like you're letting people into your world, but you're doing that anyways. As scary as that feels and is, whatever you do, you're putting yourself out there, unless you're completely hiding yourself away every single day of your life, not getting out of your house if you have one, which we're all fortunate, probably watching this video, to have a home and everything. You're putting yourself out there all the time. So might as well just do it through art. Might as well just say, F it. You know what? I'm gonna pour my goddamn thoughts into this color, into this shade of green, and that's it. I'm rolling with it. I know it's not easy, but at the end of the day, at the end of your life, you're not going to be looking at all your accomplishments that your grandma was talking about, you know, becoming a lawyer and becoming a successful manager like your parents. No, that's not going to make you happy. Definitely not talking about myself right now. I would never do that, clearly. I think another aspect is that society just doesn't help us. There's so many constraints on art, and I'm trying to keep this somewhat nice, but yeah, society doesn't help. Definitely. There are so many rules, so many constrictions on how you can express yourself, which is completely the opposite of what it should be. So I can continuously tell you to be yourself and all of that, but at the end of the day, even that is going to be edited. You're going to have an editor. You're going to have people looking at your art. You're going to have so many people telling you that this is right or wrong when those concepts are so vague, just like every concept ever. Art is vague. We are vague. But, society isn't, so. Yeah. I think another aspect, and probably the last one that I will talk about, is the lack of recognition that we get as artists, because we don't place that much emphasis on creativity. I mean, we say we do, but a lot of the times we pat people on the back for being hardworking and for spending hours on work and for hustle culture and attaining that job and attaining that medal and that paycheck and all of that without, looking at feelings and without looking at the beauty that is that thing that you made, if that makes sense. That's not work. That's not a spreadsheet. That's not a meeting. We don't really talk about that enough. I don't think we do. I think we like the idea of it, but at the end of the day, we don't quite commend it as much as we should. I also think that there's that aspect of financial struggle that we're just raised to believe in, that if you're an artist, then you won't just get a paycheck and be able to live your life with a paycheck that you get from one painting or one book, because Lord knows you're not talented enough to actually get a big following and all of that. In which case, I'm just saying, I kind of recommend doing what I'm trying to do right now, which is building a community of people where I just talk. It's me and you. We're just talking and enjoying ourselves, and I don't know, well, you're listening to me, which, interesting choice. But yeah, we're just creating a community, and from there, when I decide to write a book, I can actually tease it a little bit, and you guys can be interested, and, I have somebody other than myself to write this for. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, getting back to my point, financial struggle is something that we're just always thinking about when thinking about artistic pursuits. And we're just taught that there's nothing in life that is more important than making money. And I'm not saying money is not important, but trust me, I've had the personal experience of seeing my grandpa go through his life with his career that was as an engineer. And he always wrote poetry his entire life, and he read a lot, and I take that from him. But he was miserable. And I mean miserable. He wrote so much stuff, and I'm trying to compile everything because he's not with us anymore. But he didn't go with a feeling of completion. He was not what he wanted to be. He was a family man, he had a family, he had more than he could have dreamed of, but there was that one side of him that he didn't nurture. And yeah, I think he'll always have that regret, even wherever he is. So I'll make sure to go past that regret, no matter what it takes. And if maybe you hear this story and it inspires you because you have a real life proof that it doesn't mean anything at the end of the day to have a 9 to 5, then there you go. It doesn't. I've heard it from my grandpa time and time again. And I just hope that it brings you some kind of joy. Because he's just one example in my family and my friend group and everything of people that feel disappointed by what they have in front of them because they chose something that is safe rather than something that is actually good, something that actually makes them happy, something that makes them feel like they're free, which is something that all humans search for. Freedom. That's what we look for. Freedom of expression, freedom to be ourselves. And yet, we constrain ourselves all of the time. But yeah, didn't I get depressive? Thank you so much for watching this video, and I don't know, I hope you really got something out of it. And if you feel like I said I don't know too many times, it's because I truly don't really know. But yeah, if you enjoy this video, you know, you can subscribe, you can give a like. If you don't, you don't. What can I say? I'm not gonna stop you. You can react however you will. I just really hope it did something for you. It definitely did something for me, and I wanted to share that with the people that wanted to look at that and hear that. So I'm sending you all the love that I can, and I'm hoping you have a nice holiday season if you're watching this when I'm posting this. If not, whenever you're watching this, I'm hoping you're having a good time, and see you in the next one.